right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mac for the Blind Spring 2024 online course number 3. This one is going to be all about the new layout of system settings, which formerly was known as system preferences way back for those of you who are Mac veterans who have had Macs for a while. Now, this is pre-recorded again, thanking Cliff for all of his help. And so we're just going to I'm just going to do the lesson here, and then he'll handle the Q&A at the end. So system settings, as I said, it replaced system preferences. Still the same thing. It's still where you're going to find all the settings that are specific to your Mac. It's just that Apple is apparently going to try to streamline everything kind of as iOS and Mac sort of meet in the middle. At least that's the way that I perceive the direction they're going. So just like system preferences, there's a few ways to open up system settings. I happen to have made a keyboard shortcut in the keyboard commander to do that, but you can also open system settings from your dock. It is one of the items that will be in your dock, and it's also an application, so you will be able to launch it from applications at the very least. Of course, you have the Spotlight search and just type system settings, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. So I'm just going to launch it with my keyboard shortcut here.
System settings, appearance, window, side.
So if you are using, or if you have come over from system preferences in older versions of the OS, it's going to be a bit of culture shock because they have completely changed, they being Apple, have completely changed the way that system settings appears. It is now sort of this left-right relationship that Apple tends to use in a lot of different places, where you make a selection on the left-hand side of the screen from a table that impacts the right-hand side of the screen and what the user will then see. So when you open up system settings, for some reason, it puts you a little ways down on appearance. Now, this is a sidebar or a table, so we need to interact in order to kind of explore what we have here.
In sidebar, table.
So I'm going to use my VO home command on my full-size keyboard.
Row 1.
To get to the top of settings. If you are using a laptop keyboard, it is FN control option and the left arrow key. Once you interact with the table, it should take you to the top of the actual settings list. So I'm just going to work my way down and talk a little bit about some of the settings. I'm not going to get into details with everything. It would just take way too much time and we get lost in the weeds. Cliff has done for More with the Mac a pretty comprehensive demonstration of some of the settings that I am not going to really touch on, so I don't see a point in trying to reinvent the wheel. He'll give you his information at the end, and if you want to look up the More with the Mac sessions that have the specifics, he can tell you where to find it. So I'm going to work my way down here.
John Panarese, Apple ID,
so
level
just
1.
like in iOS, the Apple ID settings are now consolidated at the top of the settings, table or sidebar, whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm not going to go in and take a look as far as like getting into details, but I'm going to stop interacting.
Out of sidebar,
I'm just going to
table.
go over here to the right.
Vertical splitter, Apple ID, scroll area.
So you notice it says Apple ID scroll area. Everything is pretty much a scroll area when you select something from the system settings sidebar. So scroll areas, if those of you who have
alert from calendar. John Panarese
come
Zoom
to
meeting.
Know my training and the way I work, I go over the interaction concept, and scroll areas are one of the 7 item types that require interaction. So we would interact with the scroll area.
In Apple ID, scroll area.
And then if we start
32 items,
using
profile
VO,
picture, button.
Right arrow, you notice it's a profile picture.
John Panarese. J. Panarese, at Mac, personal information, sign-in and security, but payment and shipping, but iCloud, button.
So I'm just VO right arrowing, and these are all the different options, and I could VO space on any of these buttons and get additional specifics that have to do with the Apple ID information for my account. So I'm going to stop interacting.
Out of app.
I'm going to go back to
Vertical split.
past
Sidebar.
the,
Table. Row 2 of
vertical
39.
splitter. I'm going to interact again with the sidebar.
In. Sidebar. Wi-Fi.
So Wi-Fi is below the iCloud settings, just like they are in the iOS world. So again, they kind of separated Wi-Fi from network settings. So if you specifically want to check out your wireless networks and manage them, you would go into the Wi-Fi settings.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is the next one down, and it's like I said, it's similar to iOS. This is where you can manage all of your Bluetooth devices, such as speakers, earbuds, keyboards, etc.
Network.
Here's your network settings. Now, the network settings, the layouts for settings has changed quite a bit. So I just want to kind of give you an idea. So we're going to stop interacting.
Out of. Sidebar.
We're going to go past
Table.
the
Vertical splitter
again.
Network scroll area.
Again, network scroll area. So I'm going to VO shift down arrow.
In network scroll area. 12 items.
So you have
Wi-Fi
12
connected
items. So
button.
here's another way to get to Wi-Fi. So they still keep it in system settings. But notice this.
Firewall. Inactive button. Heading. Others. LPSS serial adapter. 1. Not config. LPSS serial adapter.
Everything is a button now. So if you wanted to get access to any of these specific settings, you would VO space to have, additional things. So I'm going to go
LPSS
back.
serial heading. Firewall. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi scroll area.
So now it's Wi-Fi scroll area.
In Wi-Fi. On switch. VOS RxD secure network. Signal strength.
So
3
it's
of 3
showing you
bars.
my brother's network that I'm connected with, 3 of 3 bars.
Details button.
And then the details button would give me even more specifics about the Wi-Fi network.
VOS out vertical splitter. Sidebar. In notificate network.
So I'm going to go back and interact with the vertical splitter. We're going to go past down network here.
Notifications.
Here's your notification center. This has everything that is currently tied to your Mac as far as notifications go. I believe Cliff goes into more detail here.
Notification center shows your notifications in the top right corner of your screen. You can show and hide notification center by clicking the clock in the menu bar. Show previews. When unlocked, show previews. Allow notifications when the display is sleeping. Off. Allow notifications when the display is sleeping. Switch. Allow notifications when the screen is locked. On. Allow notifications when the screen is locked. Switch. Allow notifications when mirroring or sharing the display. Off. Allow notifications when mirroring or sharing the display. Switch. Application notifications. ExpressVPN. Off. FaceTime. Badges. Sounds. Banners.
Okay, so here's my notification, or my apps, I should say, that I can set notifications for.
ExpressVPN. Off. Application notifications. ExpressVPN. Off.
So ExpressVPN, you can see I have those off.
FaceTime. Badges. Sounds. Banners.
Badges, sounds, what did it say?
FaceTime. Badges. Sounds. Banners.
Badges, sounds, banners, which means it's going to give me a count of how many I've missed. It's going to give me a sound when it happens, and it's going to be a banner, which means it's going to go away right away.
Find My. Badges. Sounds. Time.
Same for Find My.
Game Center. Badges. Sounds. Banners. Time.
Now, this doesn't even bother me. It doesn't even get in the way, but I'm just going to go in here so you can see what you have to do here.
Out of notifications. Notification. Notifications. Allow FaceTime. Find My. Game Center.
All right, Game Center. So, let's see what we have to do here.
You are currently on a button inside of a scroll area. To click this button, press Control Option Space. To stop interacting with the scroll area, press Control Option Shift up arrow.
All right, so he's telling me that it's a button, so I'm going to VO spacebar on it.
Game Center.
All right, now I'm in the Game Center preferences for the notifications.
Game Center.
Interact.
In Game Center.
Now, I don't want to hear anything from Game Center, even though I don't play any games, and I'm not signed up for any games, but I don't want to hear nothing, so.
On. Allow notifications. Switch.
So I'm going to VO spacebar and turn that off.
Off. Login items. Background. Game Center. None.
It says none because I have it turned off.
Banners.
Banners.
Alerts. Banners appear in the upper right corner and go away automatically. Alerts stay on screen until dismissed.
Okay, I want him to hear that, read that for you. So, alerts are not going to go away until you dismiss them. Banners flash in the screen. VoiceOver read it if it's quick, if it's slow enough. But if not, it's just going to be in the notification center if you allow it to be.
Allow time-sensitive alerts. Dimmed on. Allow time sensitive.
Yeah, as you can see, it's dimmed because I turned this one off. So let's go back with the command that we heard in the view menu, which is command left bracket.
Back. Notifications. Notification.
Have to interact again.
In notifications. Notification center.
And of course, it takes you back to the top. So I have to scroll back the old right arrow or down arrow until I get to the one that I want.
Show previews. Allow applicants FaceTime. Badify game center. Off.
All right, there's Game Center. Let's see what's next.
Home. Badges. Sound.
That's my home app. I'll leave all that alone. It doesn't really bother me on the Mac because I don't have much on my home now anyway. So
Kerberos. Badges. Sounds.
I have no idea what that app is.
Loopback. Off.
Loopback is off because I don't need any notifications from that.
Mail. Badges. Banners.
This is an interesting one because I check my mail frequently, but I don't need the notifications to bother me or tell me when I have mail. So let's deal spacebar on this button.
On. Show in notification center. On. Show in notification.
Now it's on. I don't want that on.
Off. Login items.
Because I don't want to see mail in my notification center. I get a lot of email and I don't need to know when I get it. So
show in notification center. On. Show notifications on lock screen. Switch. Off. Login item.
And I also don't need to.
System.
And I also don't.
System set.
I also don't need to see them in my. I also don't need a notification for them.
Show off. Show in off. Show in badge application icon. On badge application.
Badge application. That just means
system settings.
That means this dictation thing's bothering me, so I'm gonna fix that. But anyways, that's basically gonna tell you when you go to your mail in your dock how many unread email you have in your inbox. It's not gonna tell you about any other mailboxes. I have custom mailboxes that you'll see once we go into the mail app, but it's only gonna tell you what your count is in your inbox. It's different on the phone because if you have a unified inbox, then it'll tell you for all the accounts. But that's how that works.
Show previews. Default. Show previews.
It's asking me if I want to see previews, which I do not. So we're going to VO spacebar.
Menu. Check mark. Default. Always. When unlocked. Never.
Now I'm going to put mine on never.
Never. Log it.
Now what's it saying by saying defaults is basically whatever the default for your notification center is, that's what it's going to be. So whatever you set it up at the top, that's what it's going to be. But you can change them on the fly.
Notification grouping. Automatic. Notification grouping.
Automatic, again, because that's the default at the top.
Help.
And that's it. So, we're going to command back, or what is that, left bracket?
Mail. Badges. Banners. Loopback. Off.
This time it actually stayed on the last one I was on. So, mail.
Messages. Badges. Sounds. Banners. Time sensitive. Critical.
Okay, so you heard all that. There's critical, time-sensitive, alerts, banners, all that. We're going to go into this because I don't need to see messages in my notification center. I don't need to see a preview, but I do like to hear when the message is sent if I'm not in the app for it to be read. So let's go customize that.
Messages.
All right, messages. Let's VO right arrow.
Messages. On. Allow notifications. Switch.
All right, allow notifications is on, which I do want it on, but guess what I don't want?
Messages. None.
What does that say?
Messages. On. Allow notifications. On. Allow notifications. Switch.
We want allow notifications on.
Messages. None.
Let me see something here.
Login items. Back banners. None.
Oh, okay. So we're at the part where we want to, if we want it to be an alert or a banner. So let's see what mine is on.
Banners. Alerts. Banners appear in the upper right corner.
All right, mine was set on none, and that's not what I want.
Alerts.
So let's put this on banner.
Banners. Login items. Back none. Banners. Alerts. Banners appear in the upper right corner and go away automatically. Allow critical alerts. On. Allow critical alerts. Switch.
Yeah, I have mine on critical alerts because I do want to hear that if I'm doing something else, such as a focus or something. You won't know that I'm in a focus, but the computer will.
Allow time sensitive alerts. On. Allow time sensitive alerts. Switch.
That's also on.
Show notifications on lock screen. On. Show notifications on lock screen. Switch.
This is not even necessary for me to change. I could turn it off, but I never lock my screen anyway. Besides the fact that 9 times out of 10 it's always off, so it doesn't even matter. So this is a toggle I don't even need to mess with.
Show in notification center. On. Show in notification center. Switch.
Now that's the one I do want to turn off because I don't want to see messages in my notification center because I check them often enough where it's not even necessary.
Off. Login. Badge application icon. On. Badge application icon. Switch.
That's technically not even necessary either because number one, I don't keep messages on my dock because I have a commander for it, and two, again, I'm always checking messages anyway. Messages and mail is probably the two apps that I spend the most time in.
Play sound for notification. On play sound.
Definitely want to play sound with for notification.
Show previews. Default. Show previews.
It's on default. Let's see what the choices are.
Menu. Check mark. Always. When unlocked. Never. Never.
I'm going to put mine on always.
When always. Always. Login items. Background. Show previews. Always. Show previews. Notification grouping. Automatic. Note help. Help.
Okay, and then we're at the end. And the reason I put that on always is because that enables VoiceOver to read me the message when I'm not actually in the app or the app is open. So if somebody sends me a message, it will read me the message even if the app is not open or part of it, and I can just go listen to it or read the whole thing when I'm ready. All right, Command left bracket.
Messages. Badges.
Right. Good. It stayed on messages. So let's see what the next app is.
Microsoft Update Assistant off.
I'm glad that one's off. This is Microsoft Update Assistant. I have the Microsoft Suite installed because for whatever reason people who come from Windows think they need Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all that good stuff based on except the fact that once they learn the Mac they figure out, like I did, that you don't need those things because Pages is the equivalent of Word, does better. Keynote is a equivalent of PowerPoint, does better. Numbers is a equivalent of Excel, does better. You get my point. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an Apple user. I've used both, and I use both operating systems. I actually grew up on Windows, so that's not a stab at Microsoft. That's just letting you know that based on my experience and my opinion, not saying it's the right or wrong way, that the Apple group of apps does the exact same thing, if not better, than Microsoft does. So,
Notes off.
Now, Notes is off. Again, something I check very often, so I don't need notifications. Like if I'm collaborating with somebody, I don't need to know when they make updates or whatever. So when I'm on my Mac, that's not necessary. I do have that feature turned on my phone now.
OneDrive off.
OneDrive is also off. Another Microsoft product. They're actually their cloud storage. I keep it around for a couple of different reasons. One, because you need Microsoft to play the Xbox, which me and my family do. Two, I have 40 gigabytes of free storage that now you only get like 10, I think, from Microsoft, or maybe it's 7 or 5. And 3, I have that files that I back up there that I have in a couple different places because you never know.
pCloud Drive off.
pCloud. This is my second favorite cloud service behind iCloud. That's because I have lifetime storage of 2 terabytes and I have files stored there. This is actually where I store all my recordings of all the classes that I edit, stuff like that. But it's a great service. Doesn't take up space in your Mac and all that good stuff. But I don't need notifications for it.
Reminders, badges, sounds, alerts, time
Now,
sensitive.
We're going to go into reminders because Cliff doesn't use reminders. So let's deal spacebar on here.
Reminders.
Interact with the scroll area.
In on allow notifications switch.
And we're going to turn this off.
Off.
Because I don't use reminders at all on my Mac, actually, or on my phone. You know, I'll set an alarm. I use the calendar. To each their own. As we say in TTJ and Stir It Up, personal preference. There's no need for me to even continue because I turned this off. Everything else is going to be dimmed. So Command left bracket.
Back notifications. Notification. Vertical split notification.
And of course, this time it took me back to the top of the list. So let's go back down to reminders.
No show treat Express VPN face get loop back off Microsoft Notes OneDrive pCloud drop reminders off tips alerts there's alerts. I mean, I guess it gives you little snippets here and there about what's new in VoiceOver or the Mac period, so I leave that on. It doesn't bother me. It pops up maybe once a week, maybe once a month, just depends on how often there's tips that they think that you want to know. Wallet, badges, sounds, time sensitive.
Now, I don't use Wallet on my Mac, so there's no need for me to go in here to turn it off. But it's, you know, the usual.
Help.
And that's it.
Sound.
Sound is, you know, this is where you can control the input and output sounds of your Mac, as well as managing any external sound devices that you might have connected.
Focus.
Focus is the next one down. If those of you are not quite with the Apple terminology at this point, it changed a couple of operating systems ago for both Mac and iOS, where Do Not Disturb is now like kind of consolidated under Focus. And Focus is where you can create specific scenarios for yourself, where you can have do not disturb turned on while you're doing specific tasks on the Mac, but not others. So in other words, if you were reading, if you were online or you were listening to a podcast, you could set up a focus for specific apps so that people can't bother you while you're doing that specific task. That's up to, obviously the individual user to configure.
And that syncs across
I just put
devices,
on,
correct?
yeah, go ahead. Yes, it does. It does sync across
The reason I
devices.
mention that is because I have a focus that anytime I open up a media app, Paramount Plus, Max, anything that has to do with media where I'm streaming or listening to a book or whatever the case may be, I have Do Not Disturb turn on, and I don't have anybody in that list. And it does it for me on the Mac too. Sometimes when I open up a Zoom meeting, I actually turn that focus on so I don't have to create another one. And again, it syncs across devices. If you want to uncheck that box, you can, but you just got to remember to do it. Recheck it if you want that to sync across devices. Otherwise, It's not gonna, it's not gonna check itself back just because you unchecked it one time. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just have a general do not disturb that goes across all my devices. I haven't really gotten into the realm of setting up specific focuses yet. I haven't found myself needing to do it yet. I'm sure there will come a day, though, when I'll start experimenting with it.
Screen time.
Screen time, which was formerly parental controls. This has all your screen time features that you could set up for either managing another user or managing yourself if you feel that you need to be managed. And believe it or not, there are plenty of adults out there who probably do need screen time configurations set up. I know a few in my personal world, and some might even accuse me. Though I do try to take screen time, time away from being in front of a screen these days. General. Let's talk a little bit about general here because there's a couple of things you need to know. So Apple has moved a lot of stuff around. And if you are a veteran Mac user, it is going to make you pull, well, I don't have any hair left to pull out, but if you have hair, you're going to pull it out, trying to figure out where they tuck some of these things away. So general is one of these secret little areas. So we're going to stop interacting. We're
Out
going to
of
go across.
sidebar, tape vertical splitter, general
And by the
scroll
way,
area.
VOJ will work to get you from the sidebar into the scroll area directly. But for some reason, as of this recording, VOJ does not get you back to the sidebar, but instead puts you in the toolbar no matter what you do. So it's a one-way street. VOJ will go from the sidebar to the scroll area, but not scroll area back. So that's the only reason why I'm taking a long way to show you this stuff. So I'm going to interact
in general,
with
scroll area. 12 items about
So
button.
you have the about, just like in iOS. If you want to get your serial number and any of the other relevant information that an Apple support person might request from you, this is the place to go.
Software update button.
Software update, number 2. This is now where software update is. Just like in iOS, you have to go into general. Does not have its own system preference as it used to. But again, this is where you could manage your software updates. If you're in the beta program or not, that's the place to go to check for updates. Or if you're getting nagged about an update, that's the place to go.
One thing I haven't checked
storage button.
Is about in that area too, because on the phone you go to general.
Yeah, it's the first one is about.
Soft about
so you
button.
can rename your Mac in there.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have software
update. Storage button.
Storage.
AirDrop and handoff.
AirDrop and handoff.
Login items button.
Login items that has been moved to its own into general. It used to be under the users and groups formerly.
Apple Care and Warranty button.
Apple Care and Warranty. If you have Apple Care on your Mac and stuff, you can get your information. You don't have to go into system information.
Language and region button.
Language and region is now under general.
Date and time button.
Date and time.
Sharing button.
Sharing used to have its own preference, but now you must go into general to affect sharing. In other words, file sharing, media sharing, content sharing, etc., is all under this setting now in general. And again, it's a series of buttons you VO space on to open up the subsettings for, let's say, for example, sharing if you wanted file sharing or you wanted printer sharing, etc.
Time machine button.
Here's the other thing I wanted to show you in general. Time machine used to have its own preference. Now it does not. So if you want to manage your time machine backups, etc., you do have to go into general and find it that way.
Transfer or reset
And then
button.
you have your transfer and reset like you do in the iOS world, which now makes it easier than ever. If you ever need to sell your Mac, you want to wipe it clean and sell it as a brand new device, so to speak. This is where you would go to reset, or if you had to do it for troubleshooting purposes, that's where you would go. You don't necessarily have to go the long way of going into recovery mode and selecting one of the options in there, though. As a geek, I still probably will do things that way just because I'm used to it.
Out of general.
So I'm going
Scroll
to get out
area.
of general, go
Vertical
back,
sidebar. In.
interact with the
Actually, one thing
sidebar.
you missed
Appearance,
in there,
general.
I think, did you go into switch or select hard disk or whatever it's called?
Is that startup discs? Is that in there?
Startup disk,
Appearance,
yeah.
general. Out of
think it
vertical
is in
splitters.
there.
General. Soft startup disk
Oh yeah,
button.
it's the last thing. Okay,
The only reason
it
I
is
mention
the
it is
last
because
thing.
you and I are both beta testers, and
It's
we
1
usually
o'clock.
create a new APFS volume to switch to it, and this is where you would do that.
Yes.
Because it's better than making a partition because you're actually separating the two systems from each other and don't have to worry about damaging another. So,
Right, and you're running it off the same drive, so to speak. It's just that, with APFS, it creates its own
volume.
containers.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to do it that way. And, now with June coming soon, there'll be a new beta. Who knows what Apple's going to call the next version of macOS.
Drop them off at that sheet.
So we will see in June what Apple has to say about that. But startup disk, again, used to be its own preference, but now is under general.
Transfer out of general. Vertical sidebar. In. Appearance.
So appearance, I'm not going to get into. That's got all kinds of stuff. I guess if you're low vision, warped and blind, it probably would mean more. I don't really take a look in there unless I'm working with somebody who is low vision.
Accessibility.
Accessibility still has its own settings, but they're now like a little ways down, just like in iOS. So again, I'm going to stop
Out of
interacting.
vertical. Accessibility. Scroll area.
I'm going to interact.
In accessibility.
And
Scroll area.
it's kind of
23
similar.
items. Head. VoiceOver button.
So everything's got its own button.
Zoom button. Display button. Spoken content button. Descriptions button.
So it used to be a table of all of the accessibility features, but now it's specifically individual buttons that you activate with VO space. And then you could see the further settings once that opens.
Heading. Hearing. Audio
So it's
button.
all separated. You could use heading navigation
Heading. Motor. Heading. Speech. Heading.
to
General.
get to each of the, sub settings or whatever of accessibility. If you're looking for something that's not necessarily blindness, if you're helping somebody else, or maybe you are you have multiple disabilities, you can find those settings in here. So I'm going to stop
Out of
interacting.
accessibility. Vertical sidebar. In. Control center.
Control center has its own bunch of settings.
Out of vertical control center. Heading. These modules are always visible in control center. You can choose when they should also show in the menu bar.
So these are the modules. They first list the ones that are already showing in control
Wi-Fi.
center.
Show in menu bar. Wi-Fi. Bluetooth. Show in menu bar. AirDrop. Don't show in menu bar. AirDrop pop-up button. Focus. Show when active. Focus. Pop-up
So these
button.
are all the different options you have as you go through here, and then you can manipulate them as per your needs or desires.
Stage manager. Don't show in menu bar. Screen mirroring. Show when active. Display. Show when active. Sound. Show when active.
So I'm just
Sound.
VO right
Pop-up button.
arrowing.
Now playing. Show when active. Now playing. Heading. Heading. These modules can be added to control center and the menu bar.
So these are the ones that can be added.
Accessibility shortcuts. Show in menu bar. Show in menu bar. Off switch. Show in control center. Show in control center. Off switch.
So if I wanted to, I could turn this on if I wanted accessibility features to appear in my control center.
Battery. Show in menu bar. Show in menu bar. On switch.
So you notice battery I have turned on since this is a laptop. So you could kind of go through here and decide what you want to have appearing on the menus and in control center as opposed to which things you want to have hidden.
Show in control center. On switch.
All right, I'm going to stop interacting.
Out of control center.
Go back.
Verticals. Sidebar. Siri and Spotlight.
We have Siri and Spotlight. This is all about turning on if you're going to use Siri on your Mac. It's usually turned on as one of the default settings as you're doing the setup assistant, unless you deliberately turn it off, as far as I can remember.
Privacy and security.
Privacy and security is important. This is, now with the later versions of macOS, Apple has really kind of hammered everything down a lot more tightly in terms of user interaction and allowing specific apps or features of apps to access parts of the operating system.
Out of vertical privacy and
So
privacy
you
and
want to
security
kind
scroll
of get
area.
to know this
40 items
area.
heading privacy location services
So
button.
everything again has buttons.
Contacts button. Calendars button.
So these are all the different apps and how they're in security and privacy, and you can determine if certain apps have accessed any of these features, and you have complete control over what apps are allowed, for example, to get to the microphone or the camera.
Reminders button. Photos button. Bluetooth
just
button.
VO right arrow.
Microphone button.
See, there's the microphone.
Camera
There's
button.
the camera.
Motion and fitness button. HomeKit button.
HomeKit.
Speech recognition button. Media and Apple Mute files and folders button. Full disk access button.
So these are all, they used to be a table, and you would select an item in a table, and then you would see what items, what apps or whatever features have been accessed in recent, and it will show you, and you can uncheck or check. So now everything is separated into buttons, and you have to VO space.
Full disk access
for example,
button.
we'll just do full disk access.
Full disk access scroll area. Info add button. Allow the applications below to access data like mail, messages, Safari, Home, Time Machine backups, and certain administrative settings for all users on this Mac. Add button. Remove dim list. It's Cisco Weeks meetings. Com.Microsoft Dropbox off. Google Updater off switch. Install Disk Creator off switch. OneDrive off switch.
So I have all the ones, and I've turned a lot of these things that are kind of useless these days off.
Pages off switch.
Pages is off. But anyway, this is where you would see the apps that are allowed to have full disk access. So Apple, again, this is all has to do with the privacy and security commitment that Apple has to the user. And then it gives you full control over whether, you want to have full disk access granted to specific apps. But if you're using something like Super Duper, or I think Carbon Copy Cloner still works with later versions of Mac, you are going to have to grant those apps full disk access. And it usually has a security notice when you first install them, if I remember correctly, that will ask you if you want to allow it. But if it doesn't, you can go in here and do it yourself manually. There's also privacy settings and privacy reports and stuff like that. So my point here, without getting lost in the weeds, is that you should spend some time
out of list, out of full disk access, vertical sidebar in
going into privacy and security, and spending your time getting to know some of those things a little bit better.
Desktop and dock.
And we have our desktop and dock settings.
Displays. Wallpaper. Screensaver.
There's the screensaver. I'm just VO down arrowing.
Battery,
because I have a laptop. It would be energy saver if it was my Mac Mini at home. And this is where you can control how much time like the Mac will stay up if you don't touch the keyboard on battery, etc., etc.
Lock screen, level 1.
Lock screen. So let's take a look.
Out of vertical lock screen in for 1 hour. Start screensaver when inactive.
So here's where you can start the screensaver.
For 1 hour. Warning. Turn display off on battery when inactive. For 30 minutes. Turn display off on powered. For 25 minutes. Custom. Turn display off on powered.
Stuff as well for lock screen.
Require password after screensaver begins or display. Never. Require password after screensaver begins or display is turned off. Pop-up
This
button.
one I just want to point out to people, because I run into this with people who either clients I'm working with, or I get the occasional email tech support question. If you disable file vaults, you still have to go into the lock screen settings and turn off the requirement for a password to unlock your system, because if your system goes to sleep, even if you don't have file vault turned on, you still have to put your password in by default. Now, one thing I advise, if you're a student who's taking your computer to school with you, or you're an employee at a job that has a bring your own computer policy and you bring your Mac, you might still want to leave this on so that it does require your password to unlock your system, because you don't want to just make it easy for anybody who walks by necessarily to get into your computer. But if you're at home, you really don't need necessarily to have a password required for you to unlock your system.
Show large clock on lock screen. Show username and photo on switch.
Yeah, so these are just the different other options here with lock screen. So we're going to go back.
Vertical sidebar,
Back to
sidebar,
interact.
table, touch ID and password.
Touch ID and password. If you have a Mac that supports Touch ID, and this is also where you can get your password information as well.
Users and groups.
Users and groups for managing. If you have a Mac that has multiple users, other than also obviously managing yourself, but this is the place to go where you can add users. You can change users from administrators to just standard users, or standard users to administrators if you feel they can be responsible people. All of that stuff would be done in users and groups.
Passwords, level 1, internet accounts.
Internet accounts.
Game Center.
Oh, internet accounts.
Internet accounts.
This is now really what's become the centralized location for any accounts that you create, mail accounts, calendar accounts, etc. You're going to be sent here, even though the apps themselves, like Mail, still has an account creating option. Even if you choose to add an account, it takes you into internet accounts, and this will keep track of, all your different accounts, your passwords and stuff. And you might get little love notices from the Mac to go in here to verify security settings for a specific account. Like, I get driven crazy by even though I don't use Optimum as a service, I still have Optimum Mail because it's been something I've had for 30 years, and I didn't want to start changing email addresses and all that stuff. But occasionally I still get these prompts from Optimum to check my security settings in here.
Game Center.
Game Center.
Wallet and Apple Pay.
And Apple Pay.
Keyboard level 1.
Which Cliff does a really complete job of going over some of the settings in keyboard, because they've changed significantly, and things that used to be very easy to find are not so much. So you may have to poke around in the keyboard settings and find those settings now.
Keyboard.
There's a few different categories in here with keyboard, because you can do different things.
Keyboard.
So we're going to interact here.
In keyboard, press FN key 2. Do nothing. Press FN key 2.
Yeah, so you can set your function key to do a few things. Let's see what it says here.
Menu. Start dictation. Press show emoji and symbols. Change input source. Change input source.
All right, so you can change the input source.
Show emoji and symbols. Start dictation. Press F. Check mark. Do nothing. Check mark. Do nothing.
And I have mine on do nothing.
Do nothing. Keyboard navigation. On keyboard navigation.
Keyboard
Switch.
navigation, of course you want that on.
Use keyboard navigation to move focus between controls. Press the tab key to move focus forward and shift tab to move focus backward. Keyboard shortcuts.
All right, you can set keyboard shortcuts. We'll go to that in a second.
Text input.
Text input.
Input sources.
Input sources.
US. Edit. Text replacements.
Text replacements.
Dictation.
And dictation.
Microphone. Image.
Microphone.
Use dictation wherever you can type text.
And
to start dictating, use the shortcut or select start dictation from the edit menu.
I'm glad I came in here because I need to disable this. I don't dictate on my Mac.
Off. Use dictation wherever you can type text.
All right, it's already off.
Languages.
Languages.
English. United States.
Mine's on English.
Edit. Microphone source. Automatic. USB audio. Shortcut. Press Control key twice. Shortcut.
Let's turn this shortcut off.
Menu. Off.
There we go.
Off.
Then that way, when I hit the Control key twice, it's not coming up automatically because I don't use dictation.
Shortcut press keys now. Edit text. Auto punctuation.
Auto punctuation.
On. Auto punctuation.
On.
About Ask Siri. Dictation and privacy.
That's about dictation, Siri, and privacy. Like I said, I don't use Siri, dictation, or what's the third one that I don't use? And Spotlight on my phone or on my computer, so that doesn't even matter.
Change keyboard type. Set up keyboard. Help.
Okay, so this is where you would come to set up a different kind of keyboard. All right, so let's go back.
85.60. Press do nothing. Keyboard on. Keyboard navigate. Use keyboard. Keyboard shortcut. Text input. Keyboard shortcuts.
Let's go to keyboard shortcuts.
In dialog.
All right.
Sidebar.
So there's a different
13.
There's a few different
vertical splitter. Sidebar.
There's a few different shortcuts in here you can do.
Launchpad in display shortcuts. Launchpad and dock shortcuts.
Launchpad and dock. Now this is where I go because I don't use iPad, or not iPad, but mission control, and I turn off all these shortcuts. So let's go in here.
To change a shortcut, double click the key combination and then type the new keys. Table. Turn dock hiding on off. Option Command D.
So it tells you what you can do here. So
show launchpad none. Show launchpad none. Turn dock hiding on off. Option Command D.
Okay, so that's all that's there. So
to change the short.
Let's go to the next one.
Vertical split sidebar. In display shortcuts.
Display shortcuts. Not even gonna go in there because I don't use a display.
Mission control shortcuts.
Mission control.
Out vertical to change the short table. Mission control. Control up arrow.
And I'll go in. I'll interact to see if this is even checked.
In mission control. Checked. Mission control. Checkbox.
It's checked, so I'm gonna uncheck it.
Unchecked.
Uninteract.
Mission show notification center. Mission control. Control up arrow. In mission unchecked. Mission control. Checkbox. Show notification center. None.
Now you can. You used to be able to set a shortcut for notification center, but now since you can do VO in the letter O, there's really no need to do that.
Turn do not disturb on off. None.
You can set a shortcut or a key combination for do not disturb. I'll do that later.
Application windows. Control down arrow. In application when checked. Application unchecked.
So I'm unchecking that because I don't want that shortcut to be bothered with it.
Show desktop F11.
I don't need that one either.
Checked. Show desktop unchecked.
So I'm unchecking it.
Show desktop F11. Turn Stage Manager on off. None. In turn out of turn.
Okay, so Stage Manager, that's a visual thing. At least I don't use it, so I can't say it's a visual thing, but I don't use it. So there's no shortcut key set for that.
Mission control collapsed.
Mission control collapsed. Let's expand this because this is what I like to turn off because you can hit the function keys and they'll take you someplace you don't even want to be.
Row 7 expanded. Move left to space. Control left arrow. In checked. Move unchecked.
Let's uncheck that.
Move right to space. Control right arrow. In checked. Move unchecked.
Uncheck it. Now you have to interact with each of these to uncheck them or check them.
Switch to desktop 1. Control 1.
So I'm interacting because I don't even have more than one desktop. So
switch unchecked. Switch checked.
Oh,
unchecked.
That one was already unchecked. So down arrow.
Quick note FNQ.
FNQ. I actually like that shortcut because that would take me to notes automatically, and I can do a note on the fly. So we're gonna leave that one alone.
Quick note FNQ.
All right, that's the last one there. So let's go back over.
To change the shortcut.
Go back over to the sidebar.
Vertical split sidebar. In keyboard shortcuts.
All right, keyboard shortcuts. Let's go over here.
To change the shortcut table. Change the way tab moves focus. Control F7.
All right, I don't particularly mess with this one. I don't even use my function keys for much, so I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Turn keyboard access on or off. Control F1. In turn keyboard unchecked.
I'll uncheck that.
Out of change the way tab move in. Change the way in table. Row 1 of 9. Checked. Change the way tab moves focus. Unchecked.
I'm gonna uncheck that because I don't want to change the way my tab key focuses. This is personal preferences. I'm just showing you how I set up my computer when I do a clean install. That's basically what we're doing. We're doing this together.
Turn keyboard move focus to the menu bar. Control F2.
Now, I'm actually going to leave that one the way it is because sometimes you're all the way over, but you heard what he said. Let's see.
Turn keyboard move focus to the menu bar. Control F2.
Control F2, you can go to the menu bar. And I guess you can do that with VOM too, but that's just another way of doing it.
Move focus to the dock. Control F3.
Control F3. I never use that, so let's turn that off.
In move focus unchecked.
Down arrow.
Move focus to active or next window. Control F4.
I'll turn that one off too.
Move unchecked. Move focus to the window toolbar. Control F5.
That's a good one. Control F5 to go to the toolbar. So we're going to leave that one checked.
Move focus to the floating window. Control F6.
Control F6, I don't need that.
Checked. Move unchecked. Move focus to next window. Command.
Now, he's not saying accent, but that's exactly what it is. The accent or the Grave key, which is right above the tab key. I leave this checked because you want to be able to cycle between windows with command and that key, whether you're on Safari or in Finder.
Move focus to status menus. Control F8.
I never use that, so
move checked. Move unchecked.
Well, uncheck that.
Move focus to status.
And that's the last one there.
Move focus to status.
Back to the sidebar.
Move focus to move out to change vertical splitter sidebar. Row 4 13. In input sources shortcuts.
Input sources. We'll leave that alone. I don't even know what that is really.
Screenshot shortcuts.
Screenshot shortcuts I don't use very often, so I'm just going to skip that.
Presenter overlay.
Presenter overlay. That's actually the first time I've heard that, and it sounds like something I don't need anyway.
Services shortcuts.
Services shortcut.
Spotlight shortcuts.
Spotlight. I told you I don't use Spotlight, so there's no. Actually, I'm gonna go in here and turn it off.
Out vertical to change the table. Show Spotlight search. Command space. In checked unchecked.
I'm gonna command space turn it off because again I don't use Spotlight.
Show Finder search window. Option command space. Show Finder search window. Option command space. In checked show unchecked.
So I'm turning that off now.
Show Spotlight at to vertical sidebar. In services shortcuts. Spotlight accessibility shortcuts.
That's the voiceover shortcut, I'm assuming. Command F5 to turn it on or off. If you got a touch ID, I think you hold down the command key and triple click that 3 times. I'm not going to go there. Explore on your own time.
Application shortcuts.
Now, this is an interesting one. This is an application shortcut. This is actually where you can set up a shortcut to do something within the app or universally.
Function keys.
Function keys. Let's go over here because this is where you would set your function key to be standard.
Out of vertical. Use F1, F2, etc. keys as standard function keys. Off. Use F1.
Mine is off because I'm using a third-party keyboard and mine works another way. But if you want to use your function keys as standard keyboards or function keys, you have to check that box.
When this option is selected, press the Fn key to use the special features printed on each key. Done.
All right. Let's go back over to the sidebar.
Sidebar. Row 12 of 13. In modifier keys.
And modifier keys, you pretty much know what those are. Your caps lock key or your voiceover keys.
Trackpad.
And we have trackpad.
Printers and scanners.
Printers and scanners all the way here towards the bottom now. Still its own separate settings. So this is where you can manage your printers. And if you have a printer that has a scanner configuration part of it, like I have an HP 4650. My brother has an HP that has a scanner as well. So all of that stuff can be configured and managed from printer and scanner settings. And also you can check, for example, ink levels and things like that for your printer. Typically they are accessible to VoiceOver.
Korean, level 1.
And we get down to third-party apps, which
John Panarese.
I only have one called Korean. I don't even know where that came from years ago in installation. I guess that's still part of the Mac. So that's like the overview of system settings themselves. Now I'm going to show you a little trick, though, that I stumbled upon when Apple first did this, made this change in Ventura, I believe it was, and I was totally baffled as to where to find certain settings. So if we do a VOM,
menu bar, Apple,
and
system settings, file, edit, view,
the view options here under the view menu.
View menu, back command, left forward, search command, F.
So we have the search.
About, accessibility, AirDrop in handoff, appearance.
You notice it's the settings all in alphabetical order.
Checkmark, Apple ID, Apple Care and Warranty, battery, Bluetooth, control center, date and time, desktop and dock.
So if I wanted to go to desktop and dock right from here.
Desktop and dock. Out of vertical, side vertical, desktop and dock, in desktop and dock, scroll area.
So it puts
64
me on
items.
the sidebar where desktop and dock is. So I stopped interacting. I went over to the right.
42.9% out close but in D 42.0% position on screen bottom minimize windows
this is
using
all the dock and desktop options.
Scale effect. Double click a Windows type zoom. Double click minimize windows into minimize window. Automatically hide. Animate opening up. Animate opening. Show indicators. Show suggested and recent apps in dock.
So my point here is that you can very easily get to a setting by finding it on the view menu if you're not sure where it's actually now been moved or where it now resides within the the settings hierarchy. Because like I said, Apple really changed quite a bit where you find things now, and it's really I've read a few articles from people that are complaining about it, but the reality is Apple is not going to change this, folks. This is the way it's going to look, and you're going to start to see, I think, other parts of iOS slowly find its way little by little into macOS as far as like the way things look to sighted people and the way they're going to be experienced for us as blind people. I just think there's going to be a meet in the middle, and it's slowly been happening. Especially as now, you can, in certain instances, run iPad apps on Macs, etc. So I think you're going to see more of the iOS flavor or feel coming to your Mac. And I know that kind of annoys some longtime Mac users, but it is what it is. Apple just does what Apple does. So here is the settings. Like I said, Cliff, where was the clock? That's the one thing I missed. Was that in the control center settings that I completely just missed that?
I don't look at it every day, but I think you're right. It's in the clock.
Yeah,
You go in there, and then it's about appearance. But the clock actually has its own app too in the applications folder. So
yeah, you could do that, but it also, I think it's in control center settings. You can also configure, like I know some people like to have the hourly chime or the half-hour chime, or every 15 minutes they like to have their thing go off, the clock remind them. I don't know. I have mine set to an hour, and I think I took Fiona, I think the Scottish voice, I think is what I use for my clock. And all that stuff can be configured. It's now, I believe it's in Control Center, or it could be in uh, what is that? There's another one, Control Center, and there's another one I think it could be under, but I'm pretty sure it's under Control Center now. They keep moving it. For a while, it was actually, for some stupid reason, dumbass reason, it was in accessibility, I believe, at one point, or general, or something weird like that. But they moved it. And it took me a while to figure out where in the world to locate it. But again, well, you know what? Let's see something here. I wonder if it's under
Menu bar, system setting, view, back for sub, back, check displays, extend this check mark, desktop and date and time.
No, it doesn't have clock as an
Control
individual.
center, Bluetooth, date check displays, extensions, focus, game center, internet account, keyboard.
Yeah, I think this just shows the main.
Language and lock screen, login item, network, notification, passwords, Korean, printers and privacy, profiles, screensaver, screen time, sharing.
I am going to just.
Show suggested and out vertical sidebar in display desktop
Only
Siri
because
and
I am
spotlight.
curious.
Control center, out vertical controls heading. These modules are all heading menu bar only. Searching system settings. System settings not responding.
Uh-oh.
Searching system settings. Wi-Fi show in menu bar. Wi-Fi pop-up but Bluetooth show AirDrop don't focus stay don't screen show this now head except show in show and control show and battery show and control show percentage music recognition show and menu show and control show and control center hearing show and fast user switch show and don't show and control keyboard brightness show and control heading menu clock.
Yeah, here's the clock.
Clock options button.
So it is under Control Center settings. So you got to work your way all the way down, and then there is the
clock options button.
Options button.
In dialog, show the day of the week. Show the day of the week on switch heading time style analog show AM/PM. Show AM/PM on switch flash the time separators off switch display the time with seconds. Announce the time on switch.
There it is. So there.
Interval on the hour. Interval pop-up button.
There's, and you can do it. I have mine for the hour. You can do half hour, 15 minutes.
Customize voice button.
And there's the customize voice button. So those of you who are interested in knowing where to find the clock settings, it is under Control Center. I know they had moved it and put it in an obscure place. And like Cliff said, there is a clock app though. In your applications if you wanted quick access to all this stuff as well. So there you go, folks.
Out of scroll
there
area.
There is the
Zoom
settings as of the latest version of macOS in Sonoma. And this is the way it's going to be. Like I said, I don't foresee Apple ever going backwards back to system preferences. In fact, if you notice, all of the applications do not call themselves preferences anymore. So, for example,
system settings, messages, a calendar, mail, text, Finder,
menu bar,
Finder,
the Finder menu.
Finder, settings, ellipsis, command, comma.
Is now called settings instead of preferences. Every app is now
column view,
settings
Zoom
instead of preferences. I believe even Zoom.
Menu bar, Zoom meeting. Menu bar, Zoom settings, ellipsis, command, comma. Start
So
video.
command comma, by the way, folks, is the universal command to open up any application's settings, formerly known as preferences. So just in case you are not familiar with that keyboard command, it is not a VoiceOver command. It is a Mac OS command, and it is the command key with the comma key together that will open up any application's settings, not to be confused with system settings, which is what we just covered, which manages the Mac itself. One last thing I do want to mention. There's still a difference between personal settings and global settings. So there may be certain settings that you can't change until you unlock the system with your administrative password. Any setting that affects all users of a Mac, even if you're the only person who has an account, technically a Mac is a multi-user device. So any setting that would affect all users are considered to be a global setting that you most likely will have to unlock with your system password. Other settings that only affect you as the logged in user, personal settings they're called, they are just freely, you can change them yourself because they're not going to impact the next person that logs in with their account. So there, just so you know that there still is in certain instances that need to unlock preferences. When you go to make a change, it's going to ask you to put your computer password, not your Apple ID or whatever. It's your computer password, which should be different than your Apple ID password. So anyway, there is system settings, and we will now turn this over to Cliff and let him do the Q&A.
If, let's say somebody just wants to change one thing, you can get in from the dock, find system preferences, and go to the context menu, and it shows all of those options in the menu, just like it does if you go to system preferences and go to the view menu.
Today, there's a update to the Mac operating system. I haven't done that yet, and I only took a brief look at AppleVis, which I'm sure you are aware of, and it said that it either fixed things and breaks things, and I'm unclear as to. It mentioned something about quick nav, I guess, in Safari. It's either broken here and not broken there. Do you know anything more about that? I'll mute and you can answer if you know the answer or just whatever.
I don't, because I've been running the beta and I don't see anything broken in Safari and QuickNav, and I use it every day. Me and AppleVis I don't really get along with them because whenever somebody posts something about the Mac, it's usually negative, so I tend to stay away from that site. They're good with iOS stuff and updating stuff with games and things of that nature, but when it comes to AppleVis and the Mac, I tend to stay away from it because it's 90% of it's negative.
Okay, so I haven't updated the Mac yet to the latest that came out yesterday, I guess. So you see no problem in doing that?
No.
And just okay.
No, I don't. Right. I use Safari every day, and I've been running the beta for, since they released it about a month ago, and I don't see any issue with QuickNav on Safari at all. My website is stiritup.com, as most of you know, STURITUP.com. You can get access to the website, YouTube page, and some free resources there. Also contact me for one-on-one training, things of that nature. macfortheblind.com. I think John said that if you bought all 4 courses, you got a discount plus a free lesson or a discounted lesson with him. So if there's not anything else, thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you next time.
Remember, for all Mac, iOS, and any kind of Apple training, visit macfortheblind.com. John Panarese has some free courses and some reasonable paid courses. You won't be disappointed. See you next time.